guys, I'm Annie Designs and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those who might not know me, something I really like to do in the world of cosplay is performing on stage. Yes, I've dabbled in other areas as well, but I really enjoy the masquerade or cosplay competition circuit and getting to actually perform on stage a lot. Although I have professional skills in the sewing part of costume creation, I actually tend to win more in cosplay competitions for performance. Weird how that works out, but that is kind of what has happened. And I've learned a few things throughout my years of competing, as well as learned a lot during the pandemic because of the rise and continued rise of cosplay over on TikTok. Now, before I get into the actual subject here, if you're interested in checking out some of my work or some other subjects where I like to discuss different aspects of cosplay, be sure to consider checking out the rest of my channel and subscribing. I post stuff where I make cosplays using some of those sewing skills that I have, and also occasionally just discussing and doing cosplay tips, which is where this video falls. So today I am going to compare the difference between performing on a stage in cosplay versus performing on TikTok in cosplay. Because though there are some similarities, there's a lot of differences. And maybe this video can help you transfer from one to the other when cons come back. Now, cosplay and performing has always gone hand in hand. Not everyone who cosplays likes to do any performance aspects. Some people just enjoy dressing in the costume and making costumes, but people, as long as cosplay has been a thing, people have been doing some forms of performance. Traditionally and classically, it was always stage performances, or when videos and YouTube became more of a thing, YouTube videos and full skits. But usually the only chance you get to really do a full performance was on a stage during a cosplay competition or skit competition. But recently we've seen the rise of apps like TikTok, where it is performance-based. And before anyone goes, ooh, cringe, TikTok, that's not performance. Well, definitely counts, because the definition of performing is to do something with entertainment value in front of an audience, which is exactly what people are doing on TikTok. Whether or not they're performing as a character or just doing something to entertain others as themselves, that does still count as performing for an audience. Now, during the pandemic, TikTok has risen in popularity, especially with cosplayers. I think a lot of it has to do with less outlets to actually do roleplay and performance in cosplay because of conventions not happening. But I do have a feeling that when conventions come back, a lot of people who started cosplaying on TikTok or only performed ever on TikTok are gonna wanna try to get onto that convention stage when masquerades and conventions come back, which is absolutely fantastic, and I discuss a little bit of that in my other videos from about a year ago. But let's talk about how different these two mediums of performance are and how you can go from TikTok to a stage more efficiently once you understand those differences. Difference number one, space. Space and movement go hand in hand. Typically, when you're performing on TikTok, you're performing for a camera like I am kind of doing right now. I am in a limited little box here, as you can see. On a stage, you're not quite in a limited box. Your entire body is seen on the stage, and there's a lot of space. When you stand just in one spot, it is nowhere near as effective as if when you use the stage and use the whole place to your advantage. The most effective TikToks, meanwhile, are the ones that are all up close, typically. Things that are up close with lots of expression and lots of upper body movement. But then when you go and transition to stage, if you're just standing there just upper body movements and lip syncing, it's not going to be very effective because you're just stagnant. Do not just stay in that box when you're on stage, because you're not stuck in a box on the stage as you are with a camera. You have an entire stage to use, an entire stage to show off your costume work, a stage that you can twirl around on if you're wearing a costume with a big flowing skirt. Typically in cosplay competitions, you want to show off your work. That's part of it. You're trying to show the judges your work and how it looks on a stage. Take advantage of that and use that space. I'm going to show you guys a clip, and I am going to have to take out the audio because it is copyrighted, but I am going to show you guys a clip from my Lissa cosplay. When I did this competition, I was expecting the stage to be runway style because Otakuthon typically had a runway style stage. In 2016, they did not. They changed it to be a wide, typical stage shape. And I didn't really realize that until I was already on the stage. So therefore, in this performance, you'll notice I am stuck as if I'm in a box. I don't use the stage. Roll the clip and you'll see just how ineffective it was in that sense. You'll notice in this clip, I actually did do a very good job in the expressions and otherwise movement, but I am stuck in that one box. If I had moved around, if I had really expressed using the entire stage, maybe that would have been the difference between winning and even more effective performance. Now I'll show you a clip from another performance, this one of my young Zelda. In this one, I am communicating between two friends, and I put them in a specific spot, knowing very well I would go between the two of them to use the stage more effective. So roll the clip. As you can see here, we're using the stage really well. My friends are staying stagnant because I'm the focal point. So I'm the one moving around the stage and interacting with. I'm not doing a whole lot, but using the stage at least really shows my costume moving, and I'm getting a little bit more expression in there. And I'm walking around. In TikTok, I would have just pretended to walk. Don't do a walk in place on a stage. If you want to do an awesome walk like you would do on a TikTok, do the actual walk instead. It'll be far more effective. Now, difference number 2 actually also has to do with movements, but not in the sense of using the space, but your body's actual movements. Moving is very different when you're on TikTok versus on a stage as well, because on TikTok usually you're just seeing your upper body, maybe hips up, maybe. A lot of the most popular poses and movements are done using the fact that you can't see your legs. On a stage, some of these movements would not translate very well because you'd see the awkward leg poses that you don't see when you're watching a TikTok. Again, you're up close. As you can see, when I talk, I use my hands a lot. And you can really see that. On a stage, you might not see these things very well. On a stage, you are performing not just for the front row of judges, you're performing so the whole audience can see you. And audiences can vary from 20 people to 6,000 sometimes. I've been on a stage where that's how many people are watching the competition. Though there's usually a screen for an audience that big, you want to make sure that even if they are looking directly at the stage, they can see you moving. Really exaggerate, really move, and keep in mind what your whole body's doing as opposed to just your upper arm area. Move your legs in a way that makes sense with your arms. Move around in ways that make sense. Your whole body is in frame instead of just your torso. And yes, I realize that TikTok movements are also considered to be very exaggerated, but the exaggeration in this case is very different. Instead of really sharp movements, you're not only doing sharp, but big. If you want to do one of these on a TikTok, make it one of these on a stage and really bring it, because that's what they'll see from very far away and will still be effective. Major difference number 3, cues. On TikTok, you have the option to count down and then the audio starts and you're starting to film. You don't have that on stage. And some of you might think, well, can I get the audio technician to count it down for me? No, you are at the audio technician's mercy. And most of the time, especially depending on the size of the competition, size of the audience, the audio technician's booth is usually in the very back of the room. So if you're in a room with a really big audience, that's not gonna happen, because even if you wanted to ask them to do like a 3, 2, 1 from the very back, you're not gonna see that. You don't have the option to have someone cue you in. So sometimes you'll be standing there just waiting and it'll feel like an eternity sometimes. And this goes for lip syncing as well. Cues are going to be different. It's not 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Suddenly you're talking and doing your lip sync. Sometimes when the music or your audio starts, it will catch you off guard. So it might take you a few seconds to really get into your cues. For this, I would highly recommend, if you're doing anything that requires lip syncing, to always put a cue into the audio. Give yourself a few seconds before you actually start the singing or lip syncing part. This gives you a few seconds to really catch your bearings once that audio starts, and then you start performing. If you go and take a look at any of my masquerade skits that have any lip sync to them, which is quite a few, I do this for all of them because it helps me get into it, as well as other audio cues for other parts of my performances. When you do not do this and your audio cue for lip syncing starts right on that first second, oftentimes you're going to miss it because you don't have that 3, 2, 1. Always highly recommend to give yourself an audio cue in your music and a few seconds of breath before then. The other major difference is you only get one take on stage compared to on TikTok, where it could take you 100 takes to get the right perfect shot and the perfect lip sync and the perfect dance moves. You only get one take. That's why a lot of people spend a lot of time practicing the further skits that end up going on a stage. You have one take to do it. And if you mess up really badly, you don't get a chance to go do it again. There are so many other entries waiting to go on. Some competitions can have from 50 to 100 entries. You will not get a second chance unless the audio technicians mess something up or someone else messes something up for you. Like say the lights are out the entire time you're on stage. Yeah, they're gonna let you redo that. But if you make a mistake, if you accidentally trip a little bit and say, oh, can I go back and redo that? You're not gonna get that chance. It's not like TikTok where it's like, oh, I would think that was a little off, let's redo it again and again and again until I get it perfect. Don't get that, which is why when you are performing on stage, or know you're going to be performing on stage and planning to, practice, 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 practice. Practice in front of the camera, practice in front of the mirror. Practice your movements so you have them down as second nature. Get that audio in your head so you know what you're doing and when. Know it really well so that when you get on stage, you don't make those mistakes. And so that one take is as good as possible. Now, of course, you are likely going to make mistakes on stage sometimes. But if you just keep going, no one will really notice your mistakes. And the final big difference is the way you grab attention on stage versus TikTok. A lot of times on TikTok, use effects, jump cuts, and things like that, and clever editing to get attention. Of course, on TikTok, that is a very low attention span form of media, so people are usually using these jump cuts to be as entertaining and as quick as possible to keep people's attention. On stage, you obviously don't have that editing to your advantage. You don't have special effects, and you don't have jump cuts. You have to keep in mind keeping it entertaining at all moments, because you're not depending on being entertaining for a few seconds and then putting a jump cut, being entertaining for a few seconds and then jump cut. In this case, it's all you on stage, and you don't have the jump cuts to your advantage. You don't have the effects to your advantage. So come up with performances that you think will be effective to keep attention the whole time. And that's where some of these other tips can come in advantage as well, because when you're using the stage, you're moving with a lot of exaggeration. That keeps attention. It doesn't have to be just dependent on your music or costume alone. Using all of these things combined can really keep attention and make a performance really, really effective. Out of these different areas, I hope this can help you kind of grasp your mind around going from TikTok to the stage, what the differences are, and how to kind of implement those differences to plan your own stage performances. And maybe even help out some people who are going the other way around from stage to TikTok, or general performance tips. I'm not saying all of these tips will win you cosplay competitions for performance or anything like that, but an effective performance usually can do really, really well. And the difference between an effective performance and an ineffective one can be the smallest of things, like not using the stage well or not moving enough with enough exaggeration. So hopefully these tips can also help you out in creating effective and really fun performances, because performing on a cosplay stage is really, really fun, and that's all what cosplay is all about. If you've liked this video, please do let me know, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And maybe let me know if you'd like me to do videos on just doing effective stage performances, because I actually really do enjoy talking about stage performances. And it's something I've done panels on with some of my friends, and just in general, something I really, really enjoy talking about because I enjoy doing them so much. I have so much fun just planning skits. So let me know if planning skits, planning performances is something you'd be interested in hearing me talk about down in the comments down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. See you guys later.